sort of business trends or movements the opposite direction of what you're describing. How do you reconcile that? I mean, do you see that sort of a conflict between conventional thinking or emerging thinking and how things should be versus the way things actually work and are most effective? Or what are your thoughts?
My I sort of how can I say, put aside that kind of those buzzwords in terms of how to deploy technology, like agile or lean uh, or whatnot. You know what? I just first is set up your design, and your design
Right.
needs to be clear end to end. And it's not about just having a overall to be process design, but it's looking at the actual data sets that sit under those processes, sit under those activities, making sure your data set is standardized, is robust, meaning it's robust, it can meet all the possible business scenarios that your company has to go through, whether it's uh, selling an item, the different type of sales scenarios that can go through, whether the different making sure it goes through the let's say the supply chain. So all the scenarios. So you have to cover all of that, and that has to be put on paper first. And you have to cover the whole gamut of business scenarios, and making sure your data structure can support that. And if it cannot support that, then you revise your data structure. You have to add a field, because you have to meet a certain scenario. So that's how you have to build it. And from my experience, if you don't do that readiness, right, you're not going to get the full functionality of the system. Because if you don't know, if you didn't lay out all the scenarios and the data sets that support it, then you cannot connect the dots in terms of how you can build automation through the solution, because you don't have, your data set isn't robust enough to do so.
Right. Yeah, that's well said. And I think you use the word setting aside buzzwords and trends. I think that's a really important point
Yeah.
because there's certain trends and buzzwords that may apply to you as an organization, and there's many that won't. And so you have to really see past that and your business and what you're trying to accomplish.
I look at the agile kind of way of doing things. That could work if you're developing apps, right? You
Right.
know, you're developing certain programs, but in our case, we're not developing programs for the sake of ease of messaging or or shopping or whatever. It's actually, we have to run an organization. So you have to know
Right.
your organization's requirements
Right.
before. So you can't really go agile unless you have defined all your organization's requirements. Or else, what can happen is actually the new system that's coming in might be even worse than the system that the organization currently has, and then,
Right.
and therefore, where's your value after that? So
Yeah.
the agile, I'm not a big fan.